Funny story. You know Bagwell Farms up there? We got a lot of stuff, and that's one of those. Yeah, yeah. Those came from his living room. And speaking of chairs, we actually have more chairs, and I want to make sure everyone's comfortable. I know it's kind of tight.
We have so many chairs.
So if there's somebody that is not comfortable, we could fit a few more chairs here. I'd be happy to go downstairs and get one for you. And just let me know.
It's not doing foot rubs. Yeah, too many, but I'm happy.
Lazy boy right here. And does anyone want a cup of regular coffee? We're not doing a pot, but we have a machine that makes really good coffee. So if you want to stay up all night, let me know. I don't want to be doing it all night because
Slap your mama.
it's a little, I'm a little outside. But anybody want regular coffee? Right here, right there.
Right
So we've
there.
got two.
Okay, I'll work on that while he's saying hi, and he won't be loud then.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in a small room like this without acoustics, it's important that we are kind of keep conversations to a minimum. And if you want to talk, go outside. But I know everyone's very respectful at every time. It's great. So that's it, and we'll let Marty come up in a couple minutes when he's ready. Thank you again.
Yeah, you need to drop these back here anyhow.
Hi everybody. How many of you were here last time? Oh, mostly new folks, okay. How many of you have never been here before? Oh, okay, cool. This is the only gig I've ever done that has had my merch subsidized. Also the highest number of Great Danes per capita.
Nice guitar.
Yeah, I'll tell you about it later. He's got a cool story.
Ralph.
I started playing music when I was a teenager. I was trying to download an album illegally off of Napster by the Wu-Tang Clan. And if you never use that software, you could try and download something and it'd be like, here's 50 of what you're looking for. And maybe that's what it was. Who knows, it could be anything. And this time it was not the Wu-Tang Clan, obviously. But it also wasn't a virus that ate my computer, which is nice. It was this old recording from 1921 of this guy named Blind Willie Johnson, and it changed my life forever. And I started exploring American folk music and blues music, and learned to play the guitar and writing songs. And as I was exploring that world, I was like, man, everybody and their mother had a song called Going to the Country. It was loosely related to one another. I was like, I should write a song loosely related to those songs. I'll call it Going to the Country. This is it. This is one of the first songs I ever wrote. It's called Going to the Country. Where the snow is sweet and bright, onto the country where the snow is sweet and bright, but it melts away one summer day. I don't know that you were right. This is kind of a fun way to mix it up. I'm from Sonoma, California. It's just north of the Golden Gate Bridge up in wine country there. I went to college in Santa Cruz, and I started a band right when I graduated. And I just kind of stayed in Santa Cruz. It was just my place to land. But I wasn't on tour. When I started the band, I'd never been on tour, and the other two guys had. This amazing fiddle player and this upright bass player. And they're like, we should go on tour. I was like, we can't. And they're like, why not? I was like, because we're not famous. And they're like, no, man, you just email bars in different towns. I was like, we should go on a tour. So the first tour of my life was up in the Pacific Northwest in Oregon and Washington. Can you guys hear me okay at the back there? Okay. And you kind of take whatever you can get on your first tour. The first stop was in a little town called Willits, California. The northern part of California on the coastal side is almost entirely a redwood forest. And this town, Willits, sits right where that giant forest begins. So they call it the Redwood Curtain. It's part of the Emerald Triangle, so everybody there grows weed. And you meet a lot of characters there. So the first show's there. Taking what we can get, we're playing a little pizza pub called the Shawnee Pub. And there's only one guy there to see the show. And the three of us in the band. So we had him outnumbered. And I remember him very well, this man that was there, because after the show, I was like sitting out front on the porch having a beer by myself in the dark, and he was running around in front of me in circles as fast as he possibly could, because he had a prosthetic leg, and he wanted to show me how nimble he still was. Tell the true story. In fact, I'm remembering he started showing me because he heard I was from Santa Cruz. He's like, you know how I got the prosthetic leg? And I was like, how? And he's like, you know, at the boardwalk, they got those swings that go over the boardwalk you can ride around on. I was like, yeah. He's like, I fell off of that. I was like, oh my God. And I'm sitting there thinking, man, like, tour is way weirder than I ever thought of it. But a couple days later, it got better from there, and we had a day off in Seattle, and we're staying with a friend, and she really loves the Renaissance Fair. This is the strongest bourbon I've ever had in my life. And so she's got this walk-in closet, and it's full of like Shakespeare clothes. And I was like, this is what we're doing with our day off. We're sitting in this closet all day and writing music. So I wrote this song in that closet. Doesn't have anything to do with the story, but you have the creative context under which it was conceived now. It's called Letters. Is the guitar too loud, or is it like a decent balance? Cool. Late last night, blue ink on the back of a photograph, black and white. Her sweet face neath the redwood tree left me with my worried mind, my worried mind and me. I roll and I tumble, read it over again. Something that she said with the photograph, she didn't say with the ballpoint pen. And I'm learning how to worry, and I never was the worrying kind. She left me in Texas with a worry in mind. Yeah, me too, buddy. And I roll and I tumble, read it over again. Something that she said with the photograph, she didn't say with the ballpoint pen. And I'm learning how to worry, and I never was the worrying kind. She left me in Texas with a worry in mind. I'm learning how to work. And I never was a worrying kind. She left me in Texas, Texas with a worrying mind. My brother Aiden O'Reilly is a really fascinating guy. He's 4 years older than me. We're half brothers. We don't look anything alike, but he's my brother. And he's always been a really interesting person. He had cancer as a baby and he lost his right eye. He sees about 30% out of the other one. He's always been incredibly gifted, incredibly talented, born to be a theater kid, and that's what he is today. And I remember when we were kids, just like playing with Playmobil or whatever. I remember all of mine were just like killing each other, and I look over and he was doing a full production of La Boheme with Playmobil. He went on to grow up and go to the Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts in London, which is like their version of Juilliard. And he's just an amazing guy. And he's a Shakespearean actor for a living now. That's what he does. He's traveling around the country working for different Shakespeare repertory theater companies seasonally. So we're both kind of moving around the country doing our artwork. A handful of years ago, I got hired to play this festival in the middle of nowhere in Utah. So just this means not in Salt Lake City in Utah. And he called me and he's like, "I'm here too." And I was like, "Why are you in the middle of nowhere in Utah?" And he was like, "Mormon people love Shakespeare." I was like, why do Mormon people love Shakespeare? And he's like, "Because it's something they're allowed to do." So I was out there at the festival. It's called the Fort Desolation Music Festival. Out there in the middle of the desert, between these two fiery red bluffs, and the ground's all this fiery red color. And there was a dark blue storm, and the sky was shooting lightning bolts everywhere all weekend. And thousands of people dancing in the rain the whole time. And I thought, this is really cool. I feel occupationally obligated to write a song. So I wrote this song about the experience. I have a wife and a 4-year-old boy back home that I always miss when I'm on the road. So it's just sort of about being on a difficult journey and the promise of family, the promise of people you care about to give you just a little bit more fire in your belly when you need it. It's called Lightning Didn't Catch Me Here. Red sand is bursting where the raindrops hit. My skin is burning like I was sleeping on a spit. And every barroom from here to St. George shut its doors. Dark skies closing in. Desert floors a glowing ember, and the wind is kicking up just like a drinker's temper. And every cloud in heaven is gathered round to shoot me down. Ain't it gonna catch me? shoes. Give me a compass and I'll still end up on the news. Lost again, no, lost. Ain't gonna catch me. Ain't gonna catch me, yeah. Ain't gonna catch me here. The man loves in Carolina with that darling son of mine. I live in California, but I'm trying to get back home to Caroline, get back home to Caroline. Caroline is my wife's name. She's from North Carolina, it's confusing. Thank you so much to our hosts tonight for welcoming us. I'm gonna play you my weirdest song just so we can get it out of the way. A couple years ago, I was on tour in Europe, and one of the countries that I stopped in was the Netherlands. And I played 3 shows there, and at the first one, I told the audience that I was proud of having written this song because it was the only one that I was aware of that was about romance and cannibalism. And at the end of the first show, this little old Dutch lady came up to me. She's like 4'10", and she hands me a handwritten note. And she says, "This is an old Dutch song. It's about romance and cannibalism." So the next day at the second show in the Netherlands, I told this story, including that last part. And I swear to God, after that show, another little old Dutch lady came up to me with another handwritten note with another different old Dutch song about romance and cannibalism. So at the third show in the Netherlands, I was like, okay, Dutch people. Clearly I underestimated you. But if anybody can make this 3 for 3, you gotta talk to me after the show. And some guy did it. He had a third one for me. And so I had 2 takeaways from that experience. 1, we should learn more about Dutch people. Figure out what's going on over here. And 2, I looked up the songs that they gave me, and they're way more brutal and graphic than mine is, so don't worry. Mine's not that bad. It's called The Captain's Daughter, Part 1. I'm staring across the deck up at the captain's daughter, and her eyes look brighter than the sun on the water. Boys, that's right. Yeah, boys, that's right. I hear every setting sail tonight. She lets me look just from a distance, and she won't speak to me, but when I sing, she still listens. Late at night, yeah, late at night, without a single speck of land in sight. Her dress was bright green and embroidered. Yeah, honey, I know, 'cause I've been staring at her since the day that we boarded. Staring at her thigh. I've been staring at her thigh, and I'm looking at it in a brand new light. See, first, it was in the heat of passion, but it's been 15 days since we exhausted all the rations. Boys, that's right. Yeah, boys, that's right. I'm looking at her with an appetite. I started this tour in Raleigh, which is where my wife's from, and my mother-in-law came. And I felt really weird singing this song. That last line is inspired by Looney Tunes, because there's always the one little animal character that gets really hungry, and then they're looking at the other one, and there's like a mirage thing, and the other one turns into a big honey baked ham for a second. I was like, that's what I'm trying to say. Hard right now. It's strange you call yourself a songwriter and then sometimes have an entire year where you don't write one. So I've spent a lot of time and energy like figuring out what that is, why that happens. And I have my little, toolbox of things that help me now, and it feels manageable. Mostly through like reading other things, and also from this bumper sticker that was on my dad's old truck. My dad's not really a truck guy, he's more of a Prius kind of dude. But about 20 years ago, he inherited this crappy little white truck from a friend. And on the back of it was a bumper sticker that said, "Surely joy is the condition of life." and I believe that's a Thoreau quote. And my dad is one of, maybe probably the most well-read person I've ever met in my life, and he loves Thoreau, and he was like, I hate that bumper sticker. And 20 years ago I was like, why does he hate that bumper sticker? It's a quote from one of his favorite authors. And then I wondered for 20 years why he hates that bumper sticker. He still has the truck, it's still there. And then like a year ago, I was like, Dad, I referenced that bumper sticker that you hate in this new song of mine. And he's like, what bumper sticker that I hate? And I told him, and he's like, I don't hate that bumper sticker. I was kidding. And I was like, bro, I spent 20 years trying to figure out why you hate that bumper sticker. Wasn't a good joke. So anyway, this song's about my whole journey with writer's block, and like honestly, the real obvious answer is sitting right in front of your face, which is like, don't write songs, just enjoy music and let songs happen if you want to. And the minute you tell yourself you have some sort of quota to meet, you're totally screwed. Just, you know, you start playing music because it makes you feel good. You start writing songs because it makes you feel good. So just, you know, just enjoy yourself and things will happen. It's called The Perfectionist. For so many years now I've been silent. I couldn't speak for fear I would not speak right. Then the feeling like a restless storm so violent, it brings you to a point where you no longer fight it. You no longer, you no longer, and the perfectionist, his worries all depart. All the chattering clouds suddenly parted, kept safe like your image in a locket. I found a voice I lost in my own pocket. You said, I know that it's rough, babe, when you care so much, but enough is enough. Surely joy is the condition, and I can't say it enough, that you can go now and enjoy it, now that you've finally given up. Go now and enjoy it, now that you've finally given up. Searching for my great piece of art, I fumbled around the wall for a light switch in the dark, and I learned to love the questions
It's up to you, whatever you're feeling.
What does everybody else want?
Let's just play it by ear. And see.
How about 3 time changes tonight, so we go next driveway?
This is not an auction.
Run out of bourbon, good to go.
That's true. That's true. Let's see. One of the other obvious tricks when you're having a hard time writing is just, everybody knows this, but sometimes you forget. Just listen to music that you love. Whether it's like something you just found that you're really excited about, or something you've been listening to your entire life that you never get tired of. And I never get tired of Al Green. And my favorite song of his is Love and Happiness. And I was listening to it, and I was like, this song is so good. I want to write a song like this, but depressing. This is the song I wrote. 2 friends of mine that had been dating each other for a long time were breaking up. They were about to. And I was thinking about that, because I've been happily married for a long time now. You gotta like search back sometimes in your own memory of feelings. And when I wrote this song, my wife's like, everyone's gonna think we're unhappy. And I was like, that's fair. If I try to go, yeah, you would just change my mind. Even if I wanted to, I know what I would do. I would stay behind. Yeah, well, maybe it's just me. Yeah, maybe everything's fine. Maybe I'm the problem. Gets into thinking like this all the time. All the time. Oh, no, 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 baby. I ain't giving so much just to feel like this. Yeah, no, like this. Oh, no, 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 no. Things don't always just all work out. When you come home in the evening, you give me something to talk about. Like having a dream you wanna share with somebody. Like having love, wanting to care for somebody. Like the life that you wanted that doesn't exist. Because you can't live it when you're living like this. No, 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 not like this. I ain't getting so much just to feel like this. Yeah, not like this. Oh, na, na, UC Santa Cruz, somebody gave me a burned CD, and it kind of changed my life. It's by this guy named John Vandiver. It was basically a bootleg of one of his shows. He was from Texas back in the 80s, but he was murdered before he ever became famous. Unfortunately, his main gig was in cocaine, and it got him into trouble. And I felt really, really lucky to have this CD because it changed my life. And you can't even really find his music on the internet. There's like one song on Spotify, and it's not the good one. You can get the CD that I'm talking about, but you gotta pay some dude $100 on eBay to get it. And he was just really special. Like, he didn't even really write that many songs. He mostly did standards, but he had such a big heart and so much character that came through in his music that, like, it's always really meant a lot to me. And I like to play one of his songs every night, so I'm gonna play one for you now. I don't think he wrote it, but he did a really good version of it. It's called Yonder Come the Blues. Nope. I got this guitar when I was like 17 years old. It was handmade at a guitar building school in Phoenix, Arizona in 1974. And then it was lost in a storage unit that nobody knew about at the school for 30 years. And then the new dean of the school found the storage unit, and he found this guitar, and he restored it. And he was friends with the guy that owned the little guitar shop in my hometown of Sonoma, California. So he came to visit him, and he brought this guitar with him, and he's like, "See what you can get for this." And I bought it for $1,000 the next day, which was a lot of money, which still is a lot of money. But I had to like sell my current guitar as a deposit right on the spot and then bust tables for a couple of months. But then I found out that this guitar is made of Nicaraguan rosewood, which you can't legally harvest anymore. And it's like, it's worth a lot more than I paid for it. But I'm never gonna sell it, so it doesn't really matter. Raindrops keep falling on a roof of tin. Oh, 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 bad news. I ain't seen no sunshine since God knows when. But I guess I'm bound to pay my due. Oh, Lord. Shoulder. Tell me, what did you see? Yonder come the blues, running right after me. Keeps on raining, raining all the time now. Sometimes I've heard more say. Keep on waiting for that old sun to shine. Ever since I can't remember when. Oh, yeah, look over your shoulder. Tell me, what do you see? Yonder come the blue. his shoulder. Tell me, what did you see? Yonder coming blue, running right after me. This tour is kind of ambitious for me. I don't even remember where I'm going every day. I was telling my buddy Nate, I look at my tour poster over there on the merch table at the end of every night to see where I'm supposed to go the next day. And I don't remember when, but on the 15th, I'm going to be zigzagging all over the place. I'm going to go out to South Carolina and Virginia and Tennessee, and then end up back here in Georgia. I do know that I will be at Eddie's Attic in Decatur on the 15th. I believe that show is close to selling out. I would love to sell it out, so tell your friends about that. And I'll also be in Rome, Georgia, and I don't know where that is, so where I'm playing, but I'll be there eventually. So. My band in Switzerland, this little town called Stans or something, and one of those tiny little towns where the church is still the tallest building, the little church. And we're wandering around the outside of the church, and we find this little door in the side of it. And I was like, let's go in the little door. And so we did, and it went under the church, and it took us down into this ancient basement. There was actually a real life catacombs, and there were real human skulls all over the place, and it wasn't like a touristy thing. There wasn't like a plaque that was like, these are the skulls and these are why they're here. It was like, man, we probably shouldn't be here right now. And so I looked at my band and I was like, guys, we should really play music down here. So we ran back across town and got the upright bass and this guitar and the snare drum and the violin, and then ran back across town again with the instruments, snuck them all down to the little tiny door, and went back down there and put together this piece of music. I put some words from an old epic poem to music. The poem is called Mad Tom of Bedlam. The skulls being mad at me for going into their basement. It's about an insane asylum in England that was shut down, and they kind of just let all the patients free to wander off into the countryside. And I was like, that kind of probably felt like California. So the words don't make any sense, but they're really cool. So I feel like they were written by one of the patients, and I put it in music. Mad Tom of Bedlam. Here we go. Out to see Mad Tom of Bedlam, 10,000 miles I've traveled. At Marlin goes on dirty toes, save her shoes from gravel, and this well that we sing Bonnie Boys, yeah. Yeah, Bonnie Bad Boys. Bedlam boys are Bonnie, for they all go bare. They live in the air, they want to drink no money. Yeah, I'm talking about Mad Tom. Mad Tom of Bedlam. I went down to Satan's kitchen for to break my fast one morning. There I got souls piping hot while on the spit it turned. Cause it's well that we sing Bonnie Boys, yeah, Bonnie Mad Boys. Bedlam boys are Bonnie, for they all go bare. They live in the air, They want no drink, no money. Now the spirit, white as lightning, did on that journey guide me. And the sun did shake, the pale moon quaked, wherever they did spy me. Cause it's where that we seen Bonnie boys, yeah, Bonnie Mac boys, letting the boys of Bonnie, for they all go bare. They live in the air, they want no drink, no money. His staff out breaking, his knife out taking out how to weave it louder. It's better that we see Bonnie boys, Bonnie Mac boys, little boys, Bonnie, they all go there. They live in the air, they want to drink out the sea, Mac, Tom, better. 10,000 miles I've traveled, bad mother grows on dirty toes just to save her shoes from gravel. It's better that we see Bonnie boys, yeah, Bonnie Mac boys. No, Bedlam boys are Bonnie, for they all go bare. They live in the air, they want no drink, no money. If we're gonna take a break, I feel like now is the time to do it. of an old folk song, and then I'll get back to my own songs. This one's by Woody Guthrie. I like to play it whenever it feels like the world's going crazy. So I play it all the time.
have a bunch of umbrellas.
Everybody put them on.
I was thinking fire pit.
Oh, yeah.
I know we're inside, but it's the thought that counts here. Tired to keep her day bright, burned herself some shade, spent it all on moonlight. Told her I'm a dream catcher, she thought that was just a lie, and maybe it was. But my hands are open, let me try. This rain is so awesome. Because every time it starts, it gives you that, like, you know, the nice sound. And then every time it goes away, it's like that feeling of white noise stopping. Get you both ways. I can keep a secret. You can keep me in your heart. I can keep a secret. You can keep me in your heart. I don't pay for diamond. I know I'm not the only one, but I didn't know what to do when God decided to give me one. With a heart no heavier than a feather, she lay down and closed her eyes, right beside the dream catcher. It filled her head with fireflies. I can keep a secret. You can keep me in your heart. I can keep a secret. You can keep me in your heart. This is my most popular song, and it's funny because you always think you're gonna like have some agency in deciding which one it is. And it was really funny how it all happened because basically I wrote this song a long time ago. I was in college. I met a bunch of guys in the dorms and we moved into a house off campus together, 6 dudes. We called it the Bingo Bongo Schlongo Shack. And I remember writing this song in my room there for an imaginary audience because I wasn't doing this for a living yet. And I remember thinking, I want to write a song about a 3-legged dog just because I like the rhythm of that term. And so I wrote this song that in retrospect I would describe as like a depressing children's song, which I'm cool with because I feel like there's a big uncharted part of the map on the continent of depressing children's music. And I was happy to plant my sad little flag on it. But the funny thing that happened was that I put it on a record in 2014, and then like years later, like 2018 or 19, I released other records. all of a sudden Spotify was like, "This is your most popular song." I was like, "The one about the dead dog?" They're like, "Yes." And they started pumping it into millions of people's Discover Weekly playlists. And I started getting all these messages from people on Instagram that were like, "I had a 3-legged dog that died too." And I was like, "Oh no," because I never had one. Just thought I had a nice rhythm to deserve. That isn't to say that the song isn't full of very real emotions for me.
All right.
It's crazy.
You got this semi up a swing beneath that cinnamon tree. Give me half a breeze to push this sand. Got to fetch me up a telescope, 15 yards of sturdy rope. I'll tell you where that puppy dog has went. Bet she's hit the railroad and she's hopping cars. Bet she's aboard a great ship, lost at sea. She'll come bounding back again soon as she smells that cinnamon. I'll bury her sweet bones beneath that tree. She was my 3-legged dog. That's what threw everybody off. She's just a 3-legged dog. She was a 3-legged dog, and I buried her bone beneath that old cinnamon tree. No, 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 no. I'll bury her bone beneath that old cinnamon tree. How much seems to think she's gone for some kind of good. I've been scared that she's 6 feet in the ground, that I know that she's alright, but I hear her howling in the moonlight. It's a wild and lovely sound. It's not the body of the beast that holds its spirit. It's the spirit itself which I adore. Yeah, well, it's her love, it's her name, not the confines of her frame that makes me love her so much more. She was my 3-legged dog. She's just a 3-legged dog. She was a 3-legged dog. No, no, I'll bury her bone beneath that old cinnamon tree. No, 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 I'll bury her bone right beneath that old cinnamon tree. Somebody was looking at my CDs earlier and noticed that I do a cover of this song, so I said I'd do a song. If there's any Howlin' Wolf fans in the audience. This is his most famous song, and I had fun just sort of like reinventing it. It's called Smokestack Lightning. I got just a couple more for you, then we'll call it a night here. The train that I ride on, 16 coaches long. Yeah, the train that I ride on, 16 coaches long. Yeah, smokestack light. Yeah, she shines just like gold. Yeah, can you hear me cry? Can you hear me now? No. Can you hear me cry? No. Yeah, she shines just like gold. Gotta start that chain. Let this poor boy ride. You gotta stop that chain. Let this poor boy ride. There's no starlight. Oh, you tell me no, no. Tell me you stayed here last night. Yeah, little baby boy. Little baby boy. Smokestack light. She shines just like gold. Yeah, we cry. Yeah, let's do two more and then we'll call it a night here. My dad's from Chicago and my mom's from Virginia. And they met in San Francisco. They both did the we're hippies and we're gonna move to San Francisco thing. And they met volunteering at a soup kitchen for the homeless called Martin de Porres. And they named me after it. And I just think that's the cutest story ever. never had any money, but I was born in San Francisco, and when I was 4 years old, my mom had a relative that passed away, and she inherited a little bit of money, and they decided to use it as a down payment on the house, and they bought this old Victorian house 45 minutes north of San Francisco up in Sonoma, California, built in 1893, and I had the most incredibly magical childhood there. But there was one problem, which is that O'Reilly men can't fix anything. We're the least handy people on the face of the earth. And if you can't fix anything and you're poor and you can't afford to pay other people to fix your house, suffice to say, by the time we were teenagers, the house was falling apart. It was bad. I remember putting pots and pans in the living room to catch the rain. And eventually we lost the house. But actually, right afterward, an acquaintance, something between an acquaintance and a friend of mine, a guy my age, found an investor and bought the house. And he spent the next 3 years of his life living in a trailer outside of it, building it back up and making sure that it never fell over. And I will be grateful to him for the rest of my life. And actually, this is a long story, so forgive me, but I moved back to Sonoma a few years ago when my wife was pregnant, and I drive by the house, and I wonder who was living there. I was worried there was some oil baron that owned it that never went there. And then somebody told me, oh, I think this guy lives there with his family. He owns this little winery and a little tasting house downtown. It took me a couple of months, but I gathered up the courage to go into his tasting room and meet him. And I said, are you Tom? And he said, yes. And I said, this might be a little bit strange, but I grew up in the house that you're living in. And the first thing he said to me was, you have to come over. You have to come over and you have to tell me all about your childhood there and me and my wife and my kids. And I was so touched that he said that because all of my dreams still happen inside of that house. It means the world to me. On the day that I got married, my best man snuck onto the property and he stole a brick out of the foundation. He gave it to me as a wedding present. So that conversation with Tom was many months ago, and we tried to make it happen and never did. And then he messaged me and he said, Marty, we're moving out of the house and I really want you to come over before we do. And so I went over there about 5 days ago. I left my house for tour and I stopped at his house with my family and we had dinner with them. So I have been at this house more recently than my own house right now. And the moment I walked in, I burst into tears and we just spent the whole evening walking around and I told him about every memory that I had and it just meant the world to me. And the reason I'm telling you this is because this song takes place inside of that house. It's called Cold Canary Gaslight. He reads like a Bible, acts just like a birdcage, roars like an engine, dying out on burned range. And you can blow out all the candles, fire up the limelight. She looks through him with a cold canary gaslight. Oh, sister, oh, now, don't you look at what I've done. Oh, sister, oh, now, don't you look at what I've done. Father's at the front door, dusting off the floor mat, brittle like his thick bark, tired like his old hat. He used to wonder how a young boy travels to a grown man. Said he walked on water, he was dancing on quicksand. Oh, Father, oh, no, don't you look at what I've done. Oh, Father, oh, no, don't you look at what I've done. You see me tearing up the floorboards, white sheets covered you, fire in my eyes, water pouring through the roof. And you heard I found a mine shaft, digging past midnight, crawled into the dark with a cold canary gaslight. I tried to throw a rope down, didn't feel it pull back. Dead canary chirping now, cold blood and pitch black. I said, ooh, oh, oh. I said, ooh, oh, oh, no, no. All right, I got one more for you. This has been such a pleasure. Thank you all so much. I want to end on a high note, so I'm going to do a funeral procession song for you. The only reason I could start touring in Europe is because some friends of mine offered for me to open for them on their European tour. They're in a band called Rainbow Girls, if anybody has ever heard of them. And there are 3 of them now, but there were 5 of them back then. And so it was the 5 of them and me and my 2 guys driving around Europe in a Sprinter van. We played 38 shows in 42 days. And we called it the We'll Sleep When We're Dead tour. One of the stops that we made was at a Americana festival in southern England called the Maverick Festival. It's all these nice English people that are really excited to wear cowboy hats and plaid shirts and cowboy boots. So they were really excited to have 2 American bands there. They were so excited that they created a slot for us to play all together as a super band. But nobody told us. And it wasn't something that we knew how to do. And the worst part was that they called it the California All-Stars. It's not a very cool band name. So we got to the festival and we realized that this had happened once we were there. And we had 30 minutes to put together an hour and a half of music for everybody. So the festival's on this farm, and we find a barn, and we run inside the barn, and everyone's throwing out every 4-chord song they can think of. And really quickly, it's time to just go do the thing and see what happens. But then I was like, wait, there's one more problem. Who's gonna come see the California All-Stars? Because that's not a real band, and they don't have fans. So I taught everybody this funeral procession song, and I said, let's do a funeral procession through the festival and get everybody to start following us. So I sent the Rainbow Girls over to the paramedics, and they convinced them to let us borrow their stretcher for 20 minutes. And we put the littlest Rainbow Girl on, we started marching to the festival playing this song, and it totally worked. Hundreds of people started following us without any real understanding of what was going on. And they followed us right to the stage, and we played one of the best shows of my entire life. We were having so much fun that without premeditating it, the show ended by us dancing out one by one through the crowd like the Von Trapp children. So this is a very depressing song to leave you with, but I have a happy memory that I think about. It doesn't count. It's called the St. James Infirmary Blues.
So cool.